Hey, what's up everyone? Glock 9 here and welcome back to Farmer Glock. It is the morning of day 71. I've got a whole bunch of skill points to spend this morning, 8 of them. Let's start with Boomstick. I'd like to get this maxed out. Level 4 is the best we can do right now. We got 6 points left though. Let's go over to Agility. Look at this Agility Mastery, level 4. Graceful reflexes deflect the first zombie or animal attack with ease. Recharges every 60 seconds. So you're telling me every 60 seconds I will avoid the first attack from a zombie or animal? We're going to try that out. And with the last 2 points, we're going to go Strength. Because like I said, I want to max out Boomstick, make this shotgun we have even more of an animal. All right. I want to extend the corn this way, so we're going to have to do some digging. So our nail gun has melee damage. This one has range damage. So I think it's actually meant to be a weapon. But can it be used as a better nail gun? I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and buy it though, and we'll test it out. And what else am I gonna do with all this money? Nope. Right mouse button aims down the sights, left mouse button fires. Not firing anything now though, because I don't have any nails. But it is strictly a weapon. Here we are. This is a Tier 5 Infested quest for Wrecked at the Infested Warehouse, which also happens to be in the snow biome, which is nice, so we should find better loot here. So I know I mentioned that Asylum mod a few episodes back. It did release on Halloween. I downloaded it. I checked it out for a little bit. I'm going to do like a first look, first impressions video on that mod. And then eventually, probably a playthrough. I don't know. I mean, here I can give you my kind of first initial impressions now. And that is the UI makes my head hurt. And I don't know, I guess we got to get into it and see just how different it is than vanilla. But I love how many enemies they added to the game. I haven't checked out, obviously, all the POIs they added in, but I did check out one and it was awesome. I love all the crazy weapons they added in. And I feel like that's all this game really needs. Just a larger variety of enemies, much larger, more weapons, more places to explore. That's really it. And then I would change the, look at this, M16 in an ammo pile. I would go back to action skills. So if you want to get better with a sledgehammer, you just use a sledgehammer and you get better with it that way. If you want to get better with mining tools, then you just mine with them and you get better that way. But then I would do what Vane does, and I would keep the magazines in place. But, dude, you can't run away from me. Get down here. So what Vane does, if you're not watching my Vane playthrough, they have magazines in the game that you can read that temporarily give you a stat boost in whatever that magazine is for. So let's say lock picking, right? you read a lockpicking magazine, and for 30 minutes, you get a stat boost for lockpicking. So you want to try and pick as many locks as you can in that 30 minutes to make the best use of that magazine. I feel like that whole system should be here as well. It should be the way it was many moons ago. You get better at a certain thing by doing it, but while you're out and about looting, you could find lockpicking magazines, you could find sledgehammer magazines, you could find mining tool magazines, and then you read those before you mine or before you use your sledgehammer, and you get a little bit of a boost in XP as you do those things. So you can level up quicker if you find those magazines. It's perfect. It is the perfect fucking system. That's what it should be here. So I would love to see a mod that just does something like that and then leaves everything else the same, adds in more enemies, adds in more weapons, more vehicles, more POIs. That's all this game needs. It doesn't need all the crazy shit that a lot of overhaul mods bring to it. Again, this is my personal opinion. Because I feel like a lot of overhaul mods just overcomplicate things for no reason. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. It needs to be simple and arcadey. And it's an action, survival, tower defense game. It needs to stay that. Once things just get overly complicated for no reason and grindy, super grindy for no reason, I'm out, you know? I lose interest. I'm not saying Asylum is that way, but it kind of seemed that way when I first booted up. But I haven't messed with it much. I'm going to, and I'm going to make a video on it, and we'll talk about it more in that video. But again, this is like a personal issue I have with things. If something is overly complicated and I can't wrap my head around it right away, I kind of check out. Unless I stick with it and learn it, and eventually I'm able to wrap my head around it and it clicks, then I go, oh, this is awesome. That's happened with me with so many things, not just video games. That's how it was with me when I was learning the guitar, or when I wanted to learn the guitar, because I would pick it up and just fumble with it. I don't, you know, it didn't click in my brain. But once it did, I fell in love with it. And certain things click faster than other things, and I'm sure that's not just me. I'm sure that's the way it is with all people. And I'm also sure there's a life lesson in here somewhere. I just don't know how to articulate it to you. So hopefully you learned something from this stupid fucking rant that's been going on for a few minutes now. So I'm thinking we might have to add another day into these episodes. We do 2 days per episode now, but I'm really going to turn up the expansion of the farm. And doing that is going to cause me to spend a lot more time harvesting crops and just a lot more time on the farm in general. And if we really want to accomplish this goal here, which I do, in a reasonable amount of time, I think it just makes sense to add another day into the episodes. So we can spend 1 day out looting, doing a trader job, whatever, and then 2 days straight at the farm, just putting down more planters, planting more corn, harvesting corn, doing all the things we gotta do. There are some nails. I've been looking for nails. I want to try this thing out. I mean, it's probably useless, especially compared to the shotgun. This is going to be like shooting feathers at them. There's some more nails. All right. Let's load those in. Let's go find some zombies. Here we go. Okay, fuck this thing. So much better.
Congratulations. Here's your reward, sucker.
I need to make a bunch of dirt and fill this all in right here also, all this water, so we can expand the farm this way as well. We want to be careful, though. We don't want to get too close to the barn, you know? Even though all the fighting goes on inside the barn, but still. We don't want to risk losing any crops due to a demolisher or a cop exploding. At one point, I did consider letting all the corn grow so we can harvest it all at one time, but that doesn't really make sense because I'm constantly planting more. Matter of fact, it's better that, you know, half the farm is ready to harvest now and the other half will be ready to harvest later. Keeps us busy non-stop, you know? Anyway. The tractor does go a lot faster than this, but it doesn't harvest any faster than this. So if I went faster, I would be leaving a bunch of corn behind. I can only go as fast as the thing will harvest the crops. So it does take a little bit of time. Usually I fast forward all of this, obviously, but I thought it would be nice to show you just how much work this is. Don't get me wrong, it's much better than doing this all with a knife. I would be putting the knife in my fucking neck if I had to do that. And I gotta deal with this too. Constant guests that just pop in. They don't even call first. They just show up. How rude is that? I mean, it's the middle of the day. You know I'm a farmer. You know I'm busy. To knock this fence out, but instead of doing that, I'll just dig under it, and then it'll eventually collapse. And then we'll just have to clean up the fallen pieces, but that'll be a lot easier. We got so much land here to the east. It's all wide open. Might as well expand the farm that way. go, the final harvest of the day. And we'll get all this corn crafting into cornmeal in the workbenches. And we'll grab all the cornmeal that's currently crafting in the workbenches. And we'll get a final count for the day. It's got to be way over 170,000, close to 180, I bet, when it's all said and done. And hopefully, in the next episode, we can break the 200,000 mark. You know, this series is kind of a pretty good analogy of the way my brain works. Like, through the years, I've always been asked, why don't you start a farm? Why don't you grow food? And I'm like, it's a waste of time. Why would I do that when I can just go hunt some animals and eat boiled meat every day? And that's what I did for many years. And then finally, I'm like, you know what? Let's just start the biggest farm imaginable and do all the farming we should have been doing throughout the years all at once. So I always do a little math before crafting the cornmeal. I take the total number of ears of corn in my inventory and divide that by 24, because that's how many workbenches I have. And then I split up the work amongst all the workbenches. That's how we get it all crafted quicker. I guess I could use myself as a workbench and craft some in my inventory, but why? Why do that when I have this many workbenches? Now let's pull out all the cornmeal that's done. And that'll be our total for the day. But obviously we have a lot more crafting. We'll let that finish tonight. And we'll put that into storage at the beginning of the next episode. All right, over 170,000. And it does not include all the cornmeal that's still crafting upstairs. So I definitely think we're going to surpass that 200,000 mark in the next episode, even if we stick with just 2 days in an episode. But I think I'm going to try mushing 3 days together. When's our next horde? Day 77. So even if I do mush 3 days into the next episode, it won't be a horde night. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing more. Even at this point, you've seen so much corn being harvested, and you still want more out of me. And that's fine. If that's what you want, that's what I'm giving you. Guys, thank you so much for watching and for all of the support. You guys are the best. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter if you want. It's at Glock9Gamer. I follow all gamers back. Stick around for more Farmer Glock, and I will catch you all in the next episode.